Hey guys, it's Natalie from Ravenbrook Farmstead. Today I'm in my garden and I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about what we've been doing over the last week because we've been super busy, and also talk to you about some things that I've learned so far. We're only 1 week past our last frost date and already I'm like, next year it's got to be different. So let's see what's going on. So currently we are in a race against time because we have all of our starts have been honestly ready to be put in the ground for a while now, and they're just sitting there. And we have been just trying to build beds and fill them with plants. You can see behind me as the beds are going up. So we have done most of them so far, and we only have two left to build, and they are 4 by 16 foot metal raised beds. And we've gotten most of our plants in, which is awesome. But they haven't really gone in the most effective and efficient way possible. And that's because we haven't really been able to be very thoughtful about our plant placement. And that's just because as soon as the bed is done, we're like, okay, which plants really look like they're struggling and need to go in now? Which plants can wait a little while? And that is part of what's dictated what has gone on each bed. So next year, the plant arrangement is going to be really different. Because we've definitely wasted some space doing it the way that we have. The other really big thing that is going to be different next year is how we start seeds, because that was a hot mess. So we had a seed starting station in our house that had some grow lights, but the second that we potted up, everything was, it overgrew the space. We did not have enough space under the grow lights for all of our starts. And yes, that could have been something that we foresaw, understanding that plants need to be pot up. But I think the thought at the time was that, well, we have this beautiful sun porch, so as soon as they get potted up, they can go in the sun porch. However, the timing didn't work out this year. So when the seeds needed to go into larger pots and outgrew our light growing station, our sun porch is not warm enough yet. So it also doesn't get quite enough hours of sunlight during the day, and so as a result some of our starts are a little bit leggy. So next year we're actually going to build a more legitimate seed starting station. It also got really cumbersome once the sun porch was warm enough. We were bringing them in, taking them out, bringing them in, taking them out, because it was still really cold overnight. So I think we're just going to invest, get a lot of grow lights, get a space, and then just leave them down there until we're ready to harden off. So, big lesson learned there. We're going to do that totally differently. The other big lesson that I learned is, and I feel so foolish admitting this, is I think I had a fundamental misunderstanding of what hardening off was for. I was always under the impression that it had more to do with root shock and soil temperature, and I'm sure that is partially that. I thought it was acclimating the plants to the outdoor temperatures and the soil temperature slowly over time. And so the thought is you bring them out during the day, you bring them in at night. And I did that. Well, I kind of did that because our sun porch got pretty cold at night. I kind of waited until the nighttime temperature in the sun porch was similar to the nighttime temperature outside. And I thought, okay, good enough. And I learned the hard way that that is not the only reason why you harden off. You also harden off plants because they're not ready to have that much direct sunlight, and I did not know that. And then I put all my baby tomatoes out here and they all got a little bit sunburnt. So that's going to be different next year too. I haven't lost any plants, so that's fine. That's not so much. It wasn't that hard of a lesson to learn. I've also learned, this is the third thing, another thing I'm going to do different about my seed starting, is I did not start a lot of my brassicas from seed first. I did start quite a few of them from seed, or I did start quite a few of them indoors, but I did not do all of them. So all my Asian greens, and then I direct sowed. I don't know if those are technically considered brassicas, but they're in a similar category, cold hardy greens. I also did not start my arugula and spinach. But because of that, I couldn't place them strategically between plants and interplant very well because I was doing them from seeds and rows, and I think I wasted a lot of bed space that way. And I also think that I wasted time because I think they would have been able to go outside and continue growing earlier in the season had I started all of them from seed. I couldn't have done that this year because, as I mentioned before, I didn't have enough space under grow lights. But next year, I think I'm going to try doing those from starting them inside as well, just so that again I can maximize my outdoor space. But guys, it's a learning experience. So what has gone well so far is nothing's died, which is great. I took a gamble and put things in at the last frost date, and I had several people warn me, don't do that because you shouldn't put them in until June, because here in Maine, even though our last frost date is May 15th, there's usually a cold snap at the end of May. Does not look like that's happening. So looking forward into the weather, I think I'm in the clear, which is good because my plants were ready sooner than I really wanted to plant them. So that went well. That was a gamble. I don't know if I'll be so lucky next year. Probably won't do that. My direct sowed beans and snap peas have been doing phenomenally well. That also pleases me. And the beds that we've built are beautiful, and I really like them, and I think the space is really beautiful and inviting, and I get so much joy from being out here. So that has also gone well. So overall, it's a positive. Oh, the other thing that I learned is that even though I started my peppers really early in February, end of February, they kind of sprouted and then didn't grow. And I had really debated about getting heat mats for my seed starts because I was worried that our house wouldn't be warm enough, because Dan really likes the house in the 50s in the winter time because he likes to save money. And the peppers just, I don't think, got warm enough to really grow. So they're very behind, and I'm hoping that they'll catch up by the end of the season, but I'm not sure they will. So next year, heat mats are happening if I want to have peppers, because they're just behind. So whatever. So now that we're through the what I learned portion of this, let's talk to you a little bit about what we're growing. So in our first bed, the first couple of beds really are mostly just, multiple varieties of tomatoes with peppers on the outside, some squashes on the end caps, so that they can spill out over into the pathway. And so those first two beds are largely the same, just with some different varieties. The next bed back are some cabbages. I've got baby kale. Well, they're not baby kale, they're kale that are babies. And then again, we have some squash varieties down at the end. If you guys are interested in knowing what we're growing, I'm happy to start mixing that in through these videos, because if I were to laundry list all the varieties, that would be a really boring video. And then we have some lettuces. I feel like I need to learn how to grow lettuce better. If anyone has any tips on how to grow nice, heads of lettuce, oh my gosh, please tell me. Or maybe I just need to be patient. I probably just need to be patient. This next bed, I have bush green beans, just like the regular haricot vert green beans. And then I have some, I think this is a different type of cabbage. So this is my red cabbage. I have green cabbage in the other bed and red cabbage in this bed. This next one is just a big bed full of different varieties of spinach and arugula. And as I mentioned, this is kind of a really good example of where I wasn't being very efficient, because these are going to bolt and go to seed at some point mid-season, and I don't really have anything to replace it with. I should have interplanted it with other things that are going to grow and spread. So, and provide some shade when it gets hot. But again, the bed was done. This was the only thing I could plant at that time, and I just had to keep moving. So next year it will be different. At the end, I have basically my rando squash. I don't know what they are. They volunteered in my compost pile, which tells me that my compost pile wasn't hot enough to kill the seeds. And so I just plopped them in the ground, and we'll see what comes up. I also have a little bit of Savoy cabbage and green onions in this bed as well. In the first basically shaped bed, I have yard-long noodle beans, so I'm hoping they're gonna climb this trellis really beautifully and look really dramatic and awesome. And then I have a bunch of different varieties of peppers. I just put in these tomato plants here, and then I have a little row of carrots. The previous owners, the one thing they did really try to grow was carrots, and we did catch the tail end of that and pulled them up and tasted them, and God, they were the worst carrots I've ever had in my life. They were so disgusting. Even the chickens didn't want to eat them. So that's why I didn't really do a ton of carrots this year. I kind of want to see if we have better luck. Maybe it's variety, and we have different soil now because we brought in a bunch of soil, but yeah. So over here I have some more different type of kale. I think this is called dazzling blue Russian kale. And then I have snap peas. So one of the corners of this seabed, I have the yard-long noodle beans. The other three are three different varieties of snap peas. So two of them are just regular green snap peas, and then one of them is like these crimson red snap peas. I'm really excited about them. I've never had them. They look cool. Like you can kind of, they're called magnolia snaps. You can kind of see a little bit of a reddishness on their tendrils. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, I love these. So I'm super excited about that. And then we have more tomatoes. I have some red Chinese cabbage, different kale. One thing that Dan is experimenting with on this kind of trellis situation is, since we had so many extra tomato plants, is he's trying to grow them upside down in hanging pots. We have a few of them. They're different varieties, and I have already forgotten which ones we've put in here. Oh no, that one broke. Yikes. Okay, well, yikes. So we'll see if how that works. Just a fun experiment this year. Over here, this bed behind me here, I just built this guy yesterday. The wood is really rotten that I built this bed. So I built it in the same way I did the other two C-shaped beds, but I had a lot more nicer wood that we were using for current construction projects on it. And this one is mostly just woods from pallets, and then also wood from tearing down our little overhanging shed thing. And it's old and it's kind of rotten, and as a result, this one is really not as structurally sound as I would like it to be. So I might end up reinforcing it as the season goes on. I'm gonna see that it's like bowing out. Yeah, I'm probably gonna put in like a stake or something just to prop it up. It's really unfortunate. I did my best. But anyway, in this bed we mostly have just like a big row of delicata squash, hoping that it will flop over into the pathway. And then again, tomatoes that will kind of grow up. So in our first big bed, we have, let's see, what do we have? I don't remember what we have. I planted two types of bush beans that we're just gonna grow and have be as dry beans, because we're experimenting with that to see if it's worth it for us. And then I have lemon cucumbers, which are my absolute favorite thing. I will eat lemon cucumbers until the cows come home. And then I have Armenian cucumbers. I also really love Armenian cucumbers, which are technically a melon. I have tried to grow them almost every year that I've had a garden, and I've never had success. So fingers crossed for me that I will get an Armenian cucumber. so far it hasn't happened. So down on this other longoy, we have a couple more, compost squash things. Again, I don't know what that is. So we'll find out. It's a mystery. Stay tuned. I also have some Manny cucumbers, so they're like little small snacking cucumbers. They're not doing too well, but I also, again, they kind of, I think, got a little bit root bound because I started them too soon. I also direct sowed some to just in case what I transplanted doesn't survive. And actually, oh, guys, it's coming up. They've germinated. They're all popping up. Okay, cool. We will have Manny cucumbers. That is really exciting. That germinated so fast. I guess the soil is warm enough. We also have a bunch of hammy melons. Hammy melons are, I don't know what kind of melon they are. We used to get them when we were in Boston. We lived there from an Asian market, and they're like an Asian melon, and they're delicious. I tried to find seeds online for them, and I couldn't find them. I don't know if Hemi melon is the right name for this particular variety, but that's what was on the sticker. Anyway, last summer when we were living in Boston, Dan didn't want to let go, so he ended up, every time we ate a Hemi melon, he saved seeds, and we have tons and tons and tons of seeds just that we save from the grocery store. And honestly, the germination of those seeds was better than anything else that I bought this year. It germinated great, so we have a lot of them. I have no idea what the days to maturity is for this variety, so I'm hoping that our growing season is long enough that we'll actually get melon. And aside from that, I just have my determinate tomato variety. It's called Mountain Princess. It's a good short season cold hardy tomato, so we'll see. And then the last bed that we got, I just planted this like 2 minutes before I started this video. Just a little guy. I've got two different types of watermelon. So we have the Klondike Blue Ribbon watermelon and the Sangria watermelon. Still to put in are a couple other types of like smaller melons. One other one was from an Asian market. They're golden melons or Ginkaku melons. So I have some of those that we're still gonna plant in the bigger beds. I have one more variety of peppers that still needs to go in. And then I have some runner beans. So you'll notice that I have all of these stakes here in the big beds. And the reason for that is that I'm going to build arch trellises. So there will be two in each bed connecting them to the other bed. So you can see there's these guys here, and it will go up and over and connect over here. So again, hopefully that will be really cool. And it's not just a great idea. So let's see, we also bought 3 more blueberry bushes because I looked at 2 and I was like, that's not enough for me this year. The yields are going to be small and I need blueberries. So now we have a total of 4 different varieties of blueberries, which is exciting. Unfortunately, the little wild blueberry that I yoinked does not appear to be surviving, but it hasn't died yet, so maybe it will pull through. I don't know if there's anything else that is new. Things just keep growing, flowers just keep emerging. We discovered that we have not 1, not 2, but 3 different colors of lilacs on our property, which is amazing, and it makes the air smell phenomenal. But yeah, so that's what we've got cooking. I'm sure that you will have picked up on some mistakes that I've made already so far. A lot of them I know, and if there's any egregious ones that I didn't talk about and you're like, no, don't do that, please put a comment in the description below and save me some heartache. Well, it was good talking with you lovely friends. I will probably do another update video next week. So if you want to see more and see how our garden is going and what other horrible mistakes I make along the way, hit the subscribe button, give this video a like because it really helps us out, and we'll see you next time. How's the hole, Karen? Yeah? Is that good?
Dusty. She's blissed out. She's like a cat in the sun.
Oh yeah. Is that the stuff?